I blew my Funded Next Phase 2. While this may sound like a bad thing, I'm going to explain to you why it probably was the best thing that ever happened to me. So what better way to explain the story than to show the dashboard itself? So you can see here my proof that my Phase 2 has been blown, and you can see that Funded Next want me to reset my journey for just $495 with a 10% discount, trying to get me with a 10% discount. So this was my Phase 1, and you can see that I passed Phase 1 nicely. Some of you will be asking me, so you passed Phase 1, you were so close, you had 5% left. What happened? Well, let me explain. So when I was trading Phase 1, I had a strategy that worked, but it wasn't sustainable for my schedule because I had to look at the charts continuously. My sleep schedule was not good. It was more of like a scalping strategy, actually, more than a day trading strategy. In Phase 1, everything worked out well. And you can see that here. I passed my account, 8%, all is well. Then I moved on to Phase 2. So let me show you the Phase 2 account again. So we got to go to breached. No one likes coming here, but it is what it is. If I didn't know that I was breached, Funded Next are just kind enough to let me know that I breached. I had passed Phase 1 around about January. I'll put the certificate somewhere over here so that you can see that. And then I got into Phase 2. And at this stage now, my lack of sleep was starting to catch up to me. The funny thing is, then you start going into a losing streak. And I lost 4 trades in a row. Had I executed my plan perfectly and not missed trades, I wouldn't have lost 4 trades in a row. But the problem is, I missed all the winners. And ironically, I got all the losers. So instead of maybe being up 3 or 4%, or maybe being break even on the account, I was down minus 4%. And now that started to affect my emotions and how things was going. And then once you're in minus 4%, it starts to affect you even more because now it's starting to look closer to you failing than it is to passing and finally getting funded. So what I did was I looked at my results and I looked at my journal and I had to sort of understand what's going on. And that's when I realized that the strategy that I was using to do this was not sustainable. And it was actually a strategy that I kind of just made up based on a whole bunch of different courses that I took, but it made sense for a little while, but it was just not something that I could trade for the long term. So what I decided to do was I decided to get some mentorship. So that's when I went and I bought the RM trading mentorship from Mac Gray and I started learning from him. And while I was learning, I was also experimenting with the new strategy and I was taking trades. So bear in mind, I'm already minus 4%. So I start taking some trades. I was day trading and I was swing trading on the same account and my risk was everywhere. I would risk 1%, I would lose 1 and then I would win 1. And then I started thinking, what if I just increase my risk, which is wrong. And I thought, okay, let me increase my risk because if I increase my risk, and I get a winner, I can drag myself out of this drawdown and maybe we can quickly hit that 5%, get a payout, call the Lambo dealership, and we're rich for life. Again, that's not what happens usually. And I took a battering and I took a minus 2% loss. And I think at this stage now I'm at minus 7, minus 8%. So I think for a while I actually was like, okay, let's try and claw myself out of this drawdown. So I was risking 0.5%. And I was going slowly, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win. And then I realized once I dropped to 0.5% risk, it just felt like this account was never going to get anywhere because I started off risking 1%. So then I went back to 1% risk. And then when I went back to 1% risk, I think I was at minus 8%. And when you've got 2 more trades in the draw, the probability is very high that you're now going to blow the account. And that's exactly what happened. I took 1% on my trades and I lost the account. Let me explain to you all the mistakes I made. I'm sure you picked up on some of them as I spoke, but let me go through all the mistakes that I made in this challenge and hopefully you won't make these mistakes too. So the first mistake that I made was changing my risk. I went from 1% to 2% to 0.5% back to 1%. I should have just kept it static. The second mistake I made was changing my strategy halfway through doing this challenge. First I had my other strategy. Then I was using Mac's day trading strategy, but it was more like forward testing it. Then I was using his swing trading strategy and his day trading strategy all together. And eventually I basically blew the account. And those were the mistakes that I made. So going forward, number one, I'm not going to change my risk. Number two, I'm going to stick only to day trading. And number three is not to care too much on the outcome of one failed challenge. One failed challenge doesn't define me. What defines me is my process. So it's process over outcome. I'm going to stick to my trading plan. I'm going to be disciplined, and I'm going to keep going. So anyone that has recently blown an account and feels down, just view it as something to learn from, because it is. And that's why it's great. And that's why I'm not even mad that I blew that account, because I made so many mistakes and I can't wait to go and make more mistakes later and learn from them. And that's what I want to try and say to you guys here. As long as you learn from your mistakes, then failure is great. Failure tells us that we're human. I'm always going to share the ups and the downs of trading. Right now is a down. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.